Before I begin with the presentation itself, I'm going to give you a short history of how this presentation came to be. I teach a class that I like to call The Image of American Indians in History, Song, and Film. And I've taught this class now at three different, very dynamically different geographic locations with different socioeconomic conditions and different cultural influences. And despite the fact that the course has had three different university designations at those three different institutions, there is one thing that has been a constant, and that is the blinding ignorance of the students. And when I say that, that's actually a compliment. The way I'm using it's actually a compliment because they just simply don't know any better. They know what they know about American Indians based upon things like this. I'm defending them here when I say that they just simply do not know any better and they've never been told any better. Many of them are utterly shocked when they encounter an Indian paradigm, when they see me walk in the classroom. One of the common comments that I have from students is, we thought this was going to be a class taught by a white man telling how the white man screwed the Indians out of their land. And we thought, this is going to be an easy humanities lesson because we've all heard this before. We just come in and repeat everything that we've already heard before. And I tell them that, no, there is another story. There's another side to what you think you know. And that's when they get kind of shocked and dismayed, and they say, but the facts say this. And I say, well, never confuse the facts with the truth. Currently, I teach this class at Kansas State University, and I'm teaching it there for the second time since I arrived at this institution. I taught it there last year, spring of last year again. Last year, I had only 8 students, and this time, this semester, it reached its cap. It's full. But like I said, most of them thought it was going to be some sort of a historical perspective taught from a white paradigm that they were used to, they were accustomed to. And I'll share with you a little bit later on in the presentation some of the comments that I get when I first start the class and ask them, what do you know about American Indians and how do you know it? I have some comments that I've quoted a little bit later on. I'll show them, I'll share them with you in just a moment. Well, on the presentation now, let me see if I've got this thing working. Here we go. Undoubtedly, you are familiar with the Bering Strait land bridge theory of how American Indians are believed to have migrated from the Asian continent to the American continent. This was for decades the dominant theory of history, anthropology, linguistics, and almost every other science that you can think of. Even today, in 21st century America, in 21st century, period, many mainstreamers still hold fast to this theory because that is what is taught in the high school science, history and science, and they are taught to believe that history and science are never wrong, that history and science never lie. These mainstreamers dismiss all other possibilities despite the fact that the oral histories of almost every American Indian nation that I know of holds that we, and when I say we, I mean American Indians, have always been here. We migrated from nowhere. We've always been here. So along comes Thor Heyerdahl. Actually, this shot right here I scanned out of a fairly contemporary American history book, a 9th grade history book. So along comes Thor Heyerdahl, a Norwegian adventurer, and blows everything out of the water, pun intended. Heyerdahl and his Kon-Tiki experiments proved that some Polynesian folkloric tales as plausible that the Polynesians traversed the Pacific Ocean in nothing more than very rudimentary reed and balsa wood rafts. Some Polynesian tales told of these transoceanic journeys that modern mainstream science held to be impossible and thus easily dismissible. But Heyerdahl proved these tales at least as plausible and created what I like to call the Heyerdahl effect. Well, what is the Heyerdahl effect? There's a shot of his Kon-Tiki raft, Kon-Tiki 1. What is the Heyerdahl effect? Well, in my broadest definition of it, the Heyerdahl effect is an event or a non-event that alters, either positively or negatively, a long-held belief or theory that something did or did not happen according to the dominant or mainstream paradigm. This Heyerdahlic event, or a non-event, causes the dominant or mainstream paradigm holders to re-examine and rethink their paradigms, thus altering their orthodox theories and perhaps rewriting history. And here is his 1947 Kon-Tiki raft. I could play with a little animation. Ta-da! It's possible. See, it's possible. Fast forward, you know. In specific to Heyerdahl himself, he caused mainstream scientists, and let me flash to the next screen here. This is some of the currents that he, oceanic currents that he followed. In specific to Heyerdahl himself, he caused mainstream scientists and historians to re-examine and thus rethink the land bridge theory. In the post-Heyerdahlic world, there is at least an alternative possibility. To tighten my somewhat broad definition of the Heyerdahl effect, I offer these following restrictions. Mainstream paradigms are almost always exclusively white. Alternative possibilities are almost exclusively other, and by other I mean a marginalized minority. In order for the mainstream to even consider an alternative possibility, a white man must forward, promote, and then ultimately prove what the marginalized other has been saying for ages and ages. Then and only then will the alternative possibility be elevated from heathen lore to the status of alternative possibility. In other words, to debunk the land bridge theory and open minds to another line of thought, it took a white man, Heyerdahl, to prove as plausible what Polynesians had been saying for ages. Now to apply the Heyerdahl effect